A very warm welcome to all our partners, civic society representatives, sport professionals, and youth leaders joining us from across Europe and the Balkan region today. My name is Veselina Dobreva. I'm a project coordinator at BGB Active in Bulgaria, and I will be your host and facilitator for the next 60 minutes. While everyone is still getting into the room, we are immediately launching our first live poll, which is on the topic of barriers to civic participation. You can see it on your screen. Please, if you need some guidance, just please let me know in the chat or live. You can see in the upper right corner on your full screen, it's especially important to be on your full screen, you can see a purple icon that is actually the live poll. Please open the live poll and you can take a look at the question. If you need any assistance, please let me know. The question that we have here is, what is the biggest barrier to using sport as a tool for civic participation? Okay, while we are starting, please take the time to give your vote about it. So today's webinar is, as you can see, titled From Play to Participation, Sport as a Space for Democracy. This marks a major milestone for our transnational initiative, which is called Sport for Democratic Participation. The project is co-funded by the European Union, Citizens, Equality, Rights and Values. But before I continue and share a few words about the goals and scope of the project, I would like to go very quickly through the agenda and how this session is going to unveil. Once we have this very quick presentation of the project, we will continue with the synthesis of the research findings on the connection between sport and civic participation in the partner countries of the project, which are Bulgaria, Montenegro, Romania, and Serbia. After that, we'll take a look at the results of this vote that is currently going. So I encourage you to vote. So as it is very important for us to hear your opinion, your ideas and tendencies in the different countries based on your context, of course. So please do so. We'll take a look at the results and we will open a second poll that I really hope it will be able to guide our panel discussion with experts, where we will have more of a professional and a very experienced input from our experts. I'm really excited to hear their ideas and to what extent actually we can step on them in order to move on with our next steps within the project. After the panel discussion, we'll have a Q&A session. My friend and colleague Dora here is going to help me to gather some of the questions that we can ask and discuss with our experts at this final Q&A session. And in the last session, which is summary and next steps, I'll share some more information about what is upcoming for us. And I continue with some service satisfaction on your site. So about the project. This project unites 4 dedicated partner organizations, as I said, from across Bulgaria, Romania, Serbia, and Montenegro. Our core mission is radical yet simple. We are working very hardly and trying to transform grassroots sports environments into vibrant, inclusive spaces for civic learning and active citizenships. And how are we going to do that? By training coaches and youth workers to act as civic educators. So I believe that the intro was enough. Of course, this is a place and it is a start of communication and partnerships. It is not a single event, so we'll be able to talk a lot more about the upcoming things and goals of the project. But let's start with the first presentation from Marco. To ground our discussion in reality, our project consortium spent the last year conducting a multi-level qualitative research, including national focus groups with over 200, almost 200 diverse stakeholders. And they were ranging from grassroots coaches and youth workers to marginalized groups and first-time voters and Roma communities. To present the regional synthesis of these findings, I am really delighted to yield the floor to our lead researcher, Dr. Marko Bregovic. He is a senior lecturer, researcher, and program manager at REXPO in Montenegro. Marko, please, can you tell me what does the data tell us about the hidden potential and the structural cracks in the Balkan sports ecosystem? Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Veselina. Thank you very much. Greetings to all of you. Great to see this number today, number of people, and show how this topic, not only regionally, because I see people outside of the region very interested, because there is not many research when it comes to this particular topic. But allow me to share the screen shortly. Is the screen or the window better? Window. Yeah, I'm gonna share the window. Can you all see the presentation?
Not yet. Maybe it would need some time, but currently, now I see it.
Okay, perfect.
Great.
Perfect. Yeah. So basically what we are doing, as Veselina mentioned, we were trying to understand how and if sport can really serve as a platform for democratic participation. So in order to do this, we employ a mixed method study design. What is this in a nutshell? So we were actually looking at the document, existing policies, laws, regulations, and also connecting the outputs of this first step to the semi-structured focus group to explore institutional structure and policy intentions. How we did it? We involved a large group of participants in these focus groups coming from this, not only from the sports ecosystem, but going to the youth affairs. And this is a very important aspect to mention, including youth workers, students, NEET, and people from vulnerable groups such as Roma population and people with disabilities. In that respect, we ensure a full protocol in safeguarding ethical standards, assuring anonymity and securing data storage to conduct responsible research. In order to do an academic approach in conducting an analysis, we use the thematic and concrete reflexive thematic. There is a lot of study in terms of the iterative coding and etc. I will not get into that, but the framing, in order to understand this result, we use institutional related theories to understand the interplay between a formal and informal regulatory regime that develop, shape, and direct sport governance. So what are the findings? We can cluster them in the four. What we understood immediately from the participants, from the focus group, is that there is a big interest to be engaged in the sports organized activities and to be involved in the sports ecosystem because of the health aspect, aesthetics, and socialization. This is a key component, I would say. But there are a number of barriers related to the facilities, focusing on high performance, unstable or less predictable funding. When we go into the specific governance-related issues, this is mostly related to the politicization and the clientelism. Clientelism often comes in the form of nepotism. Youth voices, which is a significant part of our research, is largely excluded from governing bodies and decision-making processes. So when we look at the snapshot, and this is really, guys, a snapshot of particular country, and you can always come back with more details if you're interested. Also, we are planning to publish this finding at some point of the project. So when you look at the Romania, you can see the relic of the ex-communist / socialist society, focusing on high performance sports. With this in mind, when you look at the sports for all, grassroots, school sport, and etc., there is a significant underfunding and also limited infrastructure, especially in the rural areas, and number of challenges related to the youth, to the NEET youth, but also inequalities in terms of the social, economic, territorial, gender and ethnic, especially towards Roma youth. In Serbia, and you will see very similar to Montenegro case, a high degree of politicization exercise in sports ecosystem, limited focus again on the inclusion, and some specific challenges related to the spatial inequality, similar like in Romania regarding the relation between urban and less urban or rural disparities, and also regarding the person with disabilities, chronic deficiencies in adequate infrastructure, not only on the field, but also in adapted equipment. When you talk about Bulgaria, the situation is again, I would say, pretty much similar, with two remarks. I would say first on the gap between what is written and what is implemented, but also the lack of harmonization or horizontal coordination between sport and youth, like two public policy domains. Regarding Montenegro, similarly like in case of Serbia, high degree of politicization, along with a chronic nepotism, lack of meritocratic-based approach when we talk about specifically related to administrative staff and employees in sports-related domains, and also, as in case of Bulgaria, the gap between policy and implementation, because youth participation is often considered very symbolic. Also, some participants underlined discriminatory practices, not only vis-a-vis gender, but also vis-a-vis employment or labor-related challenges. As I said, it is very important to talk about, not only the challenges, but also the positive side. So the participants view this as a sport, as a platform for their own development, personal development. They see themselves as a part of the something, so socialization, equally emphasize on the physical and mental well-being. And of course, sports represent an alternative to different risk-related behaviors, such as alcoholism, marginalization, and etc. So we look at these four countries, and then we pose, okay, then we have something, but we wanted to see this from the perspective of convergence, divergence aspect. So we pose these three questions. I will not read them toward you. They are very clear. So based on this core, not research question, but guiding question, we come to some shared patterns. So in all of these four countries, you have pretty much centralized, high performance oriented sports ecosystem. So that means that majority of funding and public attention, public support, and etc. goes to the high performance sport, while grassroots community sport is often underfunded. But not only it's underfunded, the problem is lack of predictability of funding. That's even greater challenge to developing grassroots or I would rather use the term sport for all concept of sport. In addition to centralized sports ecosystem, we have a growing, prevalent, politically exposed interventionism or politically exposed individuals involved in governing bodies and decision-making processes, which lead to low public trust in institutions, and again, in connection, very limited youth engagement. And of course, sports do represent a capital, as indicated by participants, but in a rather symbolic manner, because a democratic capacity of sport is still in these four countries largely undeveloped. When you talk about politicization, and I would say, I mentioned this and I use this coin, exclusive governance culture. Why? Because you have very limited and close policy networks within the public sector, within the public institution responsible for sports and youth, but also in the sport ecosystem. In institutional theory, we have this mimicking as a part of isomorphic processes. So sport organizations tend to follow this public service culture, which is, you know, less on politicization and less on very, limited and close decision-making processes. And also, when we look at this, you know, who gets left out immediately? We talk about youth, we talk about women and girls, and we talk about persons with disabilities. As I said, their inclusion is symbolic, but actually their needs are largely neglected or sidelined. I try to cluster, Vasilina, these structural barriers just perhaps for participants of this webinar, so and also for speakers, so they can be aware of. I can, during their discussion, we can go back to that. But this is, you know, as a sort kind of summary, and then reforms. What we find out, we need to be realistic from the participants. So there are medium-high potential of reforms. So certain intervention, so participants believe that certain intervention can be done through the school sports system, and especially to the coaching program, because they find that coaches and also coaching themselves saying that there's a lack of, you know, soft skill approach in a coaching development, pedagogical approach in a coaching development, focusing on safeguarding, gender mainstreaming, etc. So this is something that is important to mention, and it's applicable and it can be done. And also what they emphasize, introduction of merit-based system. And as I said, I will not go into details due to the time constraint. Just I'm gonna end up here with a low medium, I would say more low than medium reform potential in the funding mechanism, because public funding is used mostly to support high performance sports, to support often non-sporting objective, often political objectives through high performance sport. And of course, a lot of efforts needed to change or to reform good governance culture. And I would like to stop here and to thank you very much for your attention. And of course, on the margins of this webinar, I remain fully on your disposal in responding to any question regarding research. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Marco. And really, it's a skill, you know, to actually concise a report of 100 pages that has so many, as you said, pillars and multi-layer insights in a very brief, short presentation. I believe that in the Balkan context, all of us has felt in a way these insights that you have shared, but it's really great when you can actually use this academic approach in order to systematize and actually see what really stands out, you know, in order to start, you know, working with the puzzle, and as you actually finished with trying to look for solutions that are actionable, realistic, and can have a real impact. So thank you very much for sharing and doing this. It is clear that while the desire for sport-based inclusion is universally high among young people, actually this have been seen in Bulgaria as well in our focus groups. There are governmental structures that are actually getting in a way, if we have to put it in simple terms. So it would be very interesting once we have this baseline for the upcoming following discussion with our expert panelists, just to take a look at the poll that we started in the beginning. While I'm talking, I would be very, very happy if some of you can just add your voice as well and vote as well. The question was, what is the biggest barrier to using sport as a tool for civic participation? Currently, the answer that has the highest rating is actually what was addressed in the presentation of Marco as well: political and structural barriers, meaning limited transparency and low support. So definitely I can understand that what we have figured out is also matching with how you see within your context as well. I know that we are currently having people participating from all over Europe, despite the project is based in those 4 countries I mentioned in the beginning, and it is really let's say, really nice to hear all your input. So please be active, ask questions. We will definitely make sure to have time to answer at least some of them, and also vote with our live polls. So we continue. Before we dive into the expert panel, we would like to guide the topic and what we will be discussing with another poll. So I'll just give you a minute. Please, the technical team, in the face of Valentina, right now, you can see on your upper right corner, once again, a new poll that has been opened. This time, what actually Marco also mentioned, one of the biggest problem is that the coaches don't have the soft skills, don't have the pedagogical skills and communication skills in order to work directly and work with the sports young people in order to create behavioral change, to sustain their participation, and also to enable their resources and capabilities. So definitely this is something that can actually be worked on and also be measured in terms of effect once such program, for example, may be implemented. So take a look, please. It's very important for us to hear and see, not hear currently, but see what do you think on this polling question, as it will be the beginning of our discussion. Once again, what is the biggest barrier to using sports as a tool for civic participation? Oh, I'm sorry, this was the last one. Right now, do you see the second poll? Please take a look, as I had some problems seeing it. Okay, that's great, because I was on the first one. Good. So the question here is, beyond sport performance, what should be the most important role of a grassroots sport coach today? Just a second, I have some problems seeing the poll currently. Okay, all good. So the answers that we have here are role model for values, ethical. I can't see anything. Okay, so I can see that Andrea is having a problem. In the upper right corner, you have a really small violet icon. When you click, you first see the first poll, and then when you slide down, you can see the second poll. Andrea, please take a look. I hope this will help you. Based on our research as well, what we have is role model for values, ethics, and fair play. Now it works. Okay, great to hear that. Great, that could help. Social mentor for support, communication, and personal development. And C, we have community builder who creates inclusive, safe, and healthy environments. I'll just give you another 30 seconds or a minute for all of you to. Sorry, Danielle. Or maybe it was not on purpose. Okay, good. I can see we have like 150, like so many people right now. Not to be pushy, but I'll be very happy. That's why I'm giving a bit more time for you to vote, so we can see a better overview of what the mass here, what the participants in the face of you're actually thinking on this very important questions. Hopefully you can all see. Danielle, please turn off your microphone. Just a second. Okay, great. Good. Okay, so let's take a look beyond sport performance. What is the most important role of grassroots coach today? We have the highest and almost equal, by the way, it's equal vote for A, role model for values, ethics, and fair play. This is the first most voted answer, and the second one is community builder who creates inclusive, safe, and healthy environments. I believe that all of the answers are in a way overlapping or redeveloping its meaning in a way, and on the third place is social mentor who supports communication and personal development. which means that all of us actually understand this important and specific role of the trainer and the coach within the community of people who are training, and especially young people, as we are talking within the realm of this project. So good. Thank you all for doing the poll. Right now, I'll be very happy to give start of our discussion. Right before we start, please currently turn off your microphones. That it would be very difficult for the speakers to share their thoughts. It would be pretty much appreciated. Just before I start, I would like to share my presentation once again, just to say some few words before we start about our speakers. I hope you can all see my screen, hopefully. Good, great. So I'm absolutely thrilled to introduce our international panel of experts who are going to help us make sense of the data that was shared by Marco. So joining us today is Natasa Jankovic, representing the Olympic Committee of Serbia, a leading expert in Olympic education, youth volunteering, and leadership frameworks. The second panelist that we'll have before we start the joint discussion is Fabio Figueiras, joining us from Switzerland, a highly seasoned sport governance, integrity, and compliance professional who had spearheaded numerous Erasmus Plus integrity initiatives. And last but not least, here with us is also Dr. Simon Rofe, a world-leading authority on sport diplomacy and international politics. Welcome you all. Thank you very much for being with us today. Your input and insight will be very important for our next steps and making sense out of the data that was just shared. So let's start with Natasa. Hello, Natasa. How are you today?
Hello. I'm great, and I'm very happy for being here. So thank you for the invitation.
It's definitely our pleasure. I try to present you, but if you would like, you can also share a few words about your work, and your insights are pretty much based on your expertise and your long-term career in the field. So let's start with the first question. All of our questions are pretty much connected with our findings in the research. The first one, how can we shift the traditional coaches? As we can see, this is pretty much a major topic and theme with the soft skills, and actually whether the coaches realize what difficult task they actually have and is expected by them. So how we can shift the traditional coaches from focusing solely on sport performance and gold medals to becoming more of a social mentors for inclusion and values. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So greetings to everyone. Regarding this question, obviously, because I'm coming from Olympic Committee of Serbia, you would say that elite sport is our priority, but we are also focusing on promotion of sport, and we are coordinating the European Week of Sport, and we are trying to do a lot in terms of Olympic education, basically mostly for young people, to educate them about, let's say, true life values. So regarding this question, I would say that obviously the coaches influence much more than sport performance. We know that they shape attitudes, behaviors, and the values, so they are very much influential on their athletes. I personally think that they don't need to stop being coaches. They just need support and tools to intentionally promote inclusion, respect, responsibility, and participation. So in my view, the goal is not to transform coaches into social mentors, but rather to help them recognize the important educational role they already play in young people's lives. So in that sense, I would use one example from my organization. We are doing a lot regarding Olympic Values Education program. I don't know if the participants heard about this program, but it is a great tool. It is a tool for learning and for personal development, and it uses sport and physical activity as a main tool. And it's not about creating future athletes, but about helping young people develop life skills, social responsibility, and positive values through sport and physical activity. So through this program in Serbia, we reached over 24,000 young pupils, also 1,500 teachers, physical education teachers, and we are also thinking of bringing coaches as well. Our experience is they can really perform great once they have the tools, once they have all the support and materials, and that we should just give them this opportunity and chance. So I don't know if you want me to go further about the program or some examples. I don't know how much time I have.
Yes, we do have time. It would be really great because we're really looking for hands-on tools that can actually be applied and also measured in terms of their efficiency. So in the end of our piloting and testing and train-the-trainer sessions, actually, we are looking for creating such a toolkit that can be applied and used, as a resource for different sports clubs. As you said, the physical education teachers, or why not maybe just teachers generally, because health enhancing physical activities also a great way for the teachers to become role models of their students as well, no matter if they're physical activity teachers. So yes, I would definitely be interested to understand a bit more about the program, and hopefully our participants as well. So yeah.
Yes, sure. I will tell some key points, and I can also share some links later so that you can all go and see what is it about. What is the main thing and key lesson that we have learned is that values are not taught through lectures, but they are learned through experience and role models. So coaches and teachers are often those role models. And basically, what is the main, let's say, learning cycle of this Olympic Values Education program is that we have three key points. The one is experience, that kids and participants, they are able to actively participate in all the activities, games, or sports. Then there is a reflection. So we care about, as a teacher or a coach, how did they feel doing their activity? What did they learn doing this activity? And what is a key takeaway from them? And then the third comes the implementation in real life. So basically, we are saying that it is not enough that you just know what is respect. You need to do respect and be respectful in every day in your life, in whatever you do. So basically, this kind of program, in a way, also brings a possibility for a lot of young people who are maybe not excellent in sport, or who are in one or another way excluded from the classroom. Through this program, they manage to bring them all together, and through the activities that they learn about each other, learn about inclusion, what does it mean also fair play, what does it mean friendship, respect, and through different kind of activities and games, they really experience these kind of important topics.
Yeah.
So I would love to later send some links for the materials so that the ones who are interested, they can really find some useful tools, useful games, useful activities. Another great example is European Young Olympic Ambassador Program that we are running through the European Olympic committees. This is on another way, let's say, in a way, also peer education program that basically we invest in young people, young ambassadors who are maybe passionate about sports or who some of them are active athletes, some of them former athletes, some of them even coaches. But we give them the knowledge, and we also discuss important topics. And I think Marco mentioned them about diversity and inclusion of women in sport or safeguarding. And what is important for us that we give them also the opportunity to take active part, which means once they are equipped with some basic knowledge, they go further, they let's say find out more about those topics, and they create activities for young athletes.
Yeah.
So in this way, it is not just us talking and teaching them, but they're really taking their role, taking the responsibility, create activities, and then on place they see how those activities influence on young athletes. So I think this is also the one of the key takeaways, that we need really to give young people the opportunity to take active part, and we can really be amazed what they can do. So to trust in them as well.
Yes. Thank you very much, Natasha. Those are really, really bright and, as I can hear and see, very well implemented examples of what this hands-on work looks like. As you said, as it is in the Sport for Democratic Participation, the central topic is education through sport, which means experiential learning. As you said, it's not lectures, it's not saying what you have to do, what you're capable of or not. And of course, giving the responsibility to learn to have this growth mindset, that you can actually learn from your mistakes, that actually it matters what you do. And this peer-to-peer learning as well, I believe it's very important in terms of youngsters. As you can use this mentorship a lot more open. So as a conclusion, let's say those are transferable skills. Yes, you can take them out of a game, out of the sport, or a facilitated process, and actually transfer them in real life scale and situations. And it is great that we are starting to look for such solutions that can actually be effective and make this a behavioral change of being included, of having this social needs met, that you are important, you are interconnected. We're talking about independence very much, but we're social animals, let's say. We need to be interconnected and to learn from each other. So thank you very much for these great examples. It was really nice hearing your experience in these project and approaches that you used on this topic and problems. I think that we have another 5 extra minutes just to let you all know if you have some things to do, just because we waited a little bit for everyone to come in to officially start. Just to let you know and be aware. Thank you very much, Natasha. We are continuing with our next guest, Fabio. I hope you're good.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
It's a pleasure being here. And let me first of all start by the premises that I mean, can I already start with, did you want to?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay,
absolutely.
very good.
The floor is yours.
Very good. Thank you very much. No, first of all, welcoming everyone again. I think this is quite an interesting topic that we're discussing, and especially also reflecting on the key conclusions and on the barriers. I mean, and then looking as well how people are responding to the polls that you have been proposing here on this discussion, and seeing in the first poll that more or less everyone is aligned that political and structural barriers are still presenting such a big topic. And then please, as you were mentioning, integrity has been a landscape where I have been navigating in the recent last 10 years, more or less. So, and if I may, looking at sports, and as you were also positively outlining, sports is such a strong connector, such a strong connector to people, such a strong connector to youth as well. And looking at that aspect, it is really crucial if we pose that angle with the political and structural barriers that are seen by most of the people that are on this presentation today, also participating and giving their opinion, but not just their opinion, but also their experience. Because from what I've seen here in the participants, we have a lot of people actually involved in everyday sports. So it is not just a mere opinion, but more of also some expertise gained on the ground. And this should make us definitely reflect, because when we were listening, Marco, before on the youth participation being very symbolic, and for example, the youth voices that were excluded from participation, from the governance of the structures of the federations of sports, this is a problem, because we are facing, I would say, a difficult moment for sport organizations where the sport is being questioned, where the values, and we were just discussing, Natasa was just mentioning fair play, was just mentioning respect. We see every day new threats to sports coming up, unfortunately. Not too long ago, we had a well, I don't know if I can call it sport, but an initiative where it was allowed to compete, let's say, in an unbalanced way amongst peers. So, I mean, there are different threats coming up, and looking now at the question that you asked me, Vidalina, that I would also give an answer, so I don't take too much time. And of course, I'm more than available as we conclude this topic to answer any question or even follow up after this. When you ask what local sport organizations can do to build trust and create environments where young people feel that their participation really matters, let me take you to an organization or a project which where I'm actually also with an organization coordinating, which is called the ULI project. And we are also facing this question with regards, or especially on the topics of giving youth a voice. Because as you were also outlining before, and Marco, the symbolic part is there. I mean, if we look at many organizations nowadays, we will see that there are representatives, maybe even some organizations have athletes as representatives. We see some policies and guidelines, some intentions of having some sort of changes or inclusions. But then, if we really look on the governance level, how many of those bodies have indeed youth included, and how many of those actually have a say in those decision-making instances?
Absolutely.
And then if we go one step further and think, okay, we now have youth involved, what is the capability and what is really the outreach that those voices can deliver and can also as well complement to that discussion, and in just providing us as well from the topic of the project that I was just mentioning, the ULI project, you will see that we also took that question forward, and at this moment, as we speak, we're also conducting some research from different countries to also understand how the landscape, the sports landscape, from let's say a more closed level on the sports organizations, but also from the public institutional level, just to see where there are eventually some connecting points and some mismatching points. And again, we are seeing as well a lot of barriers, and some of them are let's say hidden in small articles. If we take some examples and then look at the constitution or statutes of the federation, and we look there, for instance, that in order to reach certain position or to reach a certain body, you need to have this and X and Y and Z, and then you do an exercise and think, but how would that, or how is that even possible if we are speaking about youth participants, which themselves still need to gather some experience, and experience doesn't come out of
Fabio,
thin air. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I can see that you're really passionate about all what you're doing. It's not about just the data or just, having the discussion of showing how much we know. I can definitely see the inspiration and how you've seen this on the ground and how you actually work pretty much to find solutions for this. So thank you very much. I found it very, very insightful and emotional. I'm really sorry to stop you off, as I just found out, as you're a bit late, like just 5 minutes, but I just found out that Stephen has to leave like in 5 minutes. So I'll be very happy for you when Natasha and Fabio, you stay for just a few questions with the audience, but just want to make sure I have given the floor to Simon as well. So Simon, I understand that you had something and you have to leave, but hopefully for at least 5 minutes, I can hear your thoughts about what we have just discussed from your colleagues, Natasha, Fabio, and Marco as well. Hopefully you can hear me. All good?
Absolutely. So thank you very much.
Great.
It's a great pleasure to be here. And
Yeah,
Vasilina, thank you for organizing us.
Yes, all good. Just to share the question for the audience so that they can all hear it. So I would like to hear your experience and ideas on how can transnational partnerships and cross-border exchanges, like the one that we're having, for example, here in the SDP, can actually step in to compensate for weak or fragmented national public institution that has, as we've seen, been a very central point of the cause and the root of the problem. Thank you.
My pleasure. So it's really to build on the contributions that we've had thus far. It's clear that there's a great degree of enthusiasm and engagement in the world of sport, and its convening power gives it a huge amount of resonance with communities, often with youth communities and with those who are in some senses marginalized from other parts of society. That's clearly what the data that Marco's and your research has shown, and the report brings that to the fore. So what I propose to contribute is how, through the processes of what I've termed sport diplomacy, we can see how these transactional moments that sport provides give rise to what I might phrase as a sort of people-to-people diplomacy. This is where it's the coaches, it's the players, it's the parents who take coaches, it's the aunts and uncles and all the family. It takes there's the phrases I'm sure you're familiar with. It takes a village to raise a child. So the whole ecosystem that provides the context, and that again comes through very clearly in the research. Within that, there are obviously elements of coordination and challenge in making sure all of those different parts of any ecosystem work as efficiently as possible. And equally, you need to recognize that when one element perhaps is somewhat out of kilter, maybe for very good reasons, geopolitics, economic sanctions, health and other challenges that arise at all of these different levels, it has a ripple effect. And that's really where I see value in sharing, the thinking around sport diplomacy, because that provides a holistic approach, which is an enabler for nations, federations, regions, teams, and individuals to demonstrate values, in this case, democratic values, capabilities and opportunities, and recognize commercial and political prerogatives. And it does so by harnessing the power of sport to communicate, represent and negotiate across sporting and diplomatic landscapes. And those landscapes take place in all sorts of different topographies, different nations. And I think that is where you can look at the role that sport can complement the existing infrastructure. And whilst we might put a value on it ourselves and suggest it's weak, it is the reality. States and their structures are really challenged in the contemporary space. I look at my own nation in the last 24 hours. Seems we will have another new prime minister. This is the faith and indeed trust, and that was one of your key points again, the trust in those institutions might be dispelled. So we need to think about where else do we place trust. And for sport, there is trust because we have a mutual appreciation. We recognize that the opposition, who we may want to beat, but we need them. So there is a mutual relationship. And we also know that there is an uncertainty of outcome. We know that if we go to the cinema, we know the film will begin, play through, and end. In sport, we might think that most of the time there are certain outcomes that are more favorable than others, but we don't know. I would have put, the Cape Verde's performance in the World Cup is not necessarily what one would have expected. And that is the beauty of sport. That's why the goalkeeper has 15 million followers now, because there's some voyage of discovery. There's an element of learning. And that really speaks to the point about the importance of coaches in this ecosystem. And I speak here as a coach developer also. Coaches have a huge privilege to spend time with young people developing their sporting skills. But what also is clear is that hour maybe they have with them a week is the best opportunity, might be the best thing they do a week. We don't know all of the circumstances that young people bring with them. We might know some, but we don't know them all. And our responsibility as coaches is to make that hour or maybe 2 hours, the highlight of that young person's week, and to make sure that they have a lifelong love of the sport and want to come back next week. Some of them will go on and be elite athletes and perform at a much higher level and win medals and etc. For most of us, and I look in the mirror on this, it's about that lifelong love of sport coming back next week. Do that and we're winning.
Thank you very much, Simon. It is really great that when you take a look at your bios, I know you're all experts, but it's completely fascinating to see actually the heart and desire for change and the contribution that actually stands behind all of your talks and expertise that you actually share. So thank you very much to all of you for this. I think we are good with the time. I would like to make a very quick recap. But in the meanwhile, if we have someone, I know, Simon, that you have to leave. Yeah, bye-bye, and thanks again. Do we have some questions? I would be very happy also if some of you, I saw some of you were like on the go and maybe couldn't write. Is there someone who would like to just join and, with their microphone and ask a question to two of our panelists, Natasa Jankovic and Fabio, who are also here? We don't have a lot of time, but I'll be very happy to hear your insight, feedback, or some question to our panelists that we can all share together at the end of this, let's say, a bit short session, but very insightful, I believe. So, any volunteers? Okay, so I'm going to read a question from, Yulia, please take the floor.
Hello, I'm Yulia Zlatkova and I'm from Bulgaria.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a question for Fabio. Since I'm the student representative of the EUSA, the European Sport Association, University Sport Association, and I'm part of the executive committee, and I'm also a vice president, and I would say I really have a say. So I assume myself as lucky, and I really also support that young people has to be into the governance. But my question is, Fabio, do you think these changes has to come, these initiatives has to come from the governance? I mean, from down or from under? Does the youth really have to push the people with rights to include them, or you think what do you think it's more possible?
So, Yulia, thank you very much for your question. It's a pleasure to have you here among us, and I mean, you represent such an important organization that is usually part of this discussion. So it's very very positive to have you here on board and on this session, and also asking this question. Of course, I think this is a complementary work. I mean, if you look bottom up, you would need some policy, some framework that somehow guide and define how such guidelines or how such governance can be done. You need to include some certain aspects that preview participation of youth, because if you let it naturally flow and naturally happen, it might take some time, and you don't know, because we are unfortunately not capable of taking some step into 50 years from now or 100 years from now and see what the future holds for us. So in the resume, in my opinion, you need to have a complementary approach. Bottom up, you need to have this, let's say, perspective that you need to include in the governance. Let it be in the constitutional documents of organizations, etc., that need to preview some sort of inclusion, participation on that level. And then from bottom down, you need, of course, to promote that discussion, that education, that willingness for youth to want to be part of decision-making processes, not just to be on the sideline, not just to have some sort of saying when they are asked, but more proactively coming up and participating in a discussion. And I mean, I've seen that in many organizations. If you, as a young leader, as a young participant, try and set yourself as an engagement element, you will probably succeed. It's not a one-size-fits-for-all. There are organizations, there are countries, there are multiple factors that can have a say here. But I would say, in general terms, if you are proactive, if you are active from down to bottom, there will for sure I think opportunities for you to participate. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, both of you, Yulia and Fabio. Yulia, I think this was really a great question, as it is really something that might come across, and from a young person that would really like to know to what extent you can actually, push and to look for your rights. As Fabio said, I also pretty much believe that it's on both the ways around. So yeah, thank you very much for being part of this. I believe that we're a bit late, as I mentioned, but if I would be very happy to hear another question from some of you. Please take the floor if someone has a question, whether it is for Marco, Natasha, or Fabio. We'll be very happy to hear another one, and then make a quick recap and close this very fruitful, and for me especially, I would not lie, inspiring meeting, especially hearing our experts and their passion about what they actually do and contribute to the topics we discuss. Do we have a volunteer? Okay, no. Great. So I would like to make a quick recap. Thank you very much for joining us. As we draw it to an hour close, I want to extend a massive thank you to all incredible panelists and our highly engaged audience for such a rich dialogue today. It is just the beginning. As I mentioned, this is not just a one-time event. Actually, the active work of the project is just about to being started. It is undeniably clear that meaningful democratic participation requires more than formal access to institutions. It actually demands accessible, trusted, and highly motivating everyday spaces where young people can actively experience fair play, practice collective decision-making, which was central to our discussion, and a feel for a deep sense of belonging. For belonging. So I'm going to say just a few words about what is upcoming. We're going to keep in touch. We're going to share all of you a follow-up recording of this webinar. And of course, if you need some additional resources or you want to share with us some additional resources, we'll be more than happy to have them. How we continue with the project, we will launch the regional Train the Trainer seminar in Belgrade. It is upcoming by the end of this year. It will mobilize a cohort of sport professionals so that are equipped with specialized ETS, education through sport, and gamification tools. Something of the approach that Natasha actually mentioned. It would be really great if we can also hear your inputs and have you as a guest there. It would be really, really nice. Then we continue with the Transnational Sport for Democratic Participation Lab in Bulgaria also and Montenegro, where we will co-create innovative low-threshold sports and activation formats. And all this, path of knowledge, learning, and sharing will hopefully end in 16 localized pilot actions across all 4 countries, a comprehensive multilingual civic sport facilitator toolkit will be designed to scale and replicate this model. So just before you all leave, I will kindly ask you, it is very important for us to take a time to answer to our satisfaction survey. The link is here in the chat. So please do so. In the meanwhile, I would like to let you know that in the follow-up, we will also share the EU shared values survey, which is an important milestone for inclusivity, equality, and rights. And it's also giving a pretty good feedback and understanding on to what level our Balkan context is actually aware and applying these principles and values. So yes, please take the time to, before you leave, to share your ideas and satisfaction of the event. Once again, it is really important for us. So thank you very much for participating. I believe that this is the beginning of many bonds and upcoming activities that we can share knowledge together. As I can see, we're all in one boat, let's say. I wish you all a great evening, and once again, thank you for taking the time to be together with us. All the best. I will just leave the chat for all of you who would like to fill in the satisfaction survey.